Welcome. Wherever this finds you, or whether at the end of a long day, in a quiet moment, or simply needing rest, I invite you to slow down, to breathe deeply, and to allow this story to unfold gently around you. This is the story of Hannah. A woman whose longing ran deeper than words. Whose pain stretched over years. Whose whispered prayers would rise like incense to heaven, and change everything. Hers is not a story of noise and battle, but of quiet courage. Of sorrow turned to song. Of patience rewarded in time. It reminds us that even when nothing seems to change, even when tears seem wasted, God sees. God hears. God answers. Let this story hold you now, just as surely as it held Hannah. This is Hannah's prayer answered, 1 Samuel 1. There was a man named Elkanah, from the hill country of Ephraim. He was a faithful man, a worshipper of the Lord, one who made the journey to Shiloh year after year to offer sacrifices and to worship at the tabernacle. He had 2 wives. One was named Peninnah. The other was Hannah. Peninnah had children. Hannah had none. And from this difference, so small in appearance, yet so large in weight, a quiet sorrow filled Hannah's days. Year after year, she longed to hold a child of her own. To feel life growing within her. To see tiny hands reaching up. To hear the first cry. But year after year, the cradle remained empty. Peninnah, by contrast, was fruitful. And cruel. She provoked Hannah continually, mocking her, reminding her of what she lacked. Each trip to Shiloh became a reminder. Each meal, a moment of shame. Though Elkanah loved Hannah deeply, giving her a double portion of meat at the sacrifices, speaking kindly to her, trying to ease her pain, the ache could not be soothed with offerings or gentle words. He would ask, "Hannah, why are you weeping? Why don't you eat? Why are you downhearted? Don't I mean more to you than 10 sons?" But the longing within Hannah was not something that could be reasoned away. It was deep, sacred, untouched by logic or affection. She wanted a child. One year, during their visit to Shiloh, the sorrow in Hannah's heart reached its full weight. After the meal and the sacrifice, she rose and went to the entrance of the tabernacle. Eli the priest was there, sitting on his chair by the doorpost. And Hannah, heart full, eyes heavy with tears, began to pray. She wept bitterly. And as she wept, she made a vow. "Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery and remember me, if you will not forget your servant but give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life, and no razor will ever be used on his head." It was a prayer born not from pressure, but from depth. It was not a demand, but a surrender. She did not raise her voice. Her lips moved, but her voice was silent. Only the Lord heard. As Hannah poured her soul out before the Lord, her lips moved, but no sound came forth. Her body trembled with a weight of unspoken grief. Her heart, worn from years of waiting, beat steadily beneath the prayer she dared to give voice, even if silently. But Eli, sitting at the entrance of the tabernacle, watched her. He did not hear the words. He only saw her lips move, her shoulders shake, her head bowed low. And he misunderstood. "How long are you going to stay drunk?" he asked, his voice stern. "Put away your wine." Hannah turned to him, not in anger, but with gentle resolve. "No, my lord," she said. "I am a woman who is deeply troubled. I have not been drinking wine or beer. I was pouring out my soul to the Lord. Do not take your servant for a wicked woman. I have been praying here out of my great anguish and grief." Eli paused. The harshness faded from his voice. He saw her more clearly now. "Go in peace," he said. "And may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked of him." Hannah bowed her head. "May your servant find favor in your eyes," she replied. Then she went on her way, and something subtle, but powerful, changed. She ate. and her face was no longer downcast. The sorrow was not gone. The future was not yet known. But the prayer had been spoken. The burden had been lifted from her heart and placed into the hands of the one who hears. The next morning, Elkanah and his family rose early and worshipped before the Lord. Then they returned home to Ramah. And in time, the Lord remembered Hannah. She conceived and gave birth to a son. She named him Samuel, saying, "Because I asked the Lord for him." The name itself carried a testimony. Samuel, heard by God. Every time she called his name, she would remember, God had listened. God had answered. And the silent nights, the tearful prayers, the empty arms, they were not forgotten. Hannah held Samuel close. His tiny hands curled around her finger. His eyes, so new to the world, blinked up at the ceiling beams of their home in Ramah. She nursed him, bathed him, sang to him. And with every passing month, every milestone, every small sound and every soft breath, her heart swelled. Not just with love, but with reverence. Because this child, so deeply longed for, had never truly belonged only to her. She had made a vow, and she remembered it. When Elkanah prepared for the annual trip to Shiloh to worship and offer sacrifice, Hannah stayed behind. After the boy is weaned, she said, "I will take him and present him before the Lord, and he will live there always." Elkanah looked at her with understanding. "Do what seems best to you," he said. "Stay here until you have weaned him. Only may the Lord make good his word." So she remained. She cared for Samuel, day by day, until the time came. Until he no longer needed to nurse. Until he could walk, speak, eat. Until she was ready to place his hand in someone else's. Then, with quiet strength, she packed what was needed. A 3-year-old bull. An ephah of flour. A skin of wine. And the child. Her son. The son she had begged for and now would give back. They journeyed to Shiloh. The same place where her tears had once fallen freely. The same entrance where she had once been mistaken for a drunk. But this time, she carried joy. And fulfillment. And sacrifice. She entered the house of the Lord and found Eli. "Pardon me, my Lord," she said, voice steady. "As surely as you live, I am the woman who stood here beside you praying to the Lord. I prayed for this child, and the Lord has granted me what I asked of him. So now I give him to the Lord. For his whole life he will be given over to the Lord." And she left Samuel there. Not in abandonment, but in worship. She had asked for a gift and returned it in trust. She left him there. Little Samuel, her son, her answer, her joy. Left in the care of Eli, the priest. Left in the service of the Lord. Left not with sorrow, but with peace. Because Hannah had not given him away. She had given him back. And with that act of trust, her heart lifted into praise. Hannah prayed, but this time not in anguish or bitterness. This time, her voice was strong. This time, her words rose like a song. "My heart rejoices in the Lord. In the Lord my horn is lifted high. My mouth boasts over my enemies. For I delight in your deliverance. There is no one holy like the Lord. There is no one besides you. There is no rock like our God." She had no sword, no throne, no wealth. But she had seen the hand of God. She had waited, and hoped, and trusted. And now, she praised. Do not keep talking so proudly, or let your mouth speak such arrogance. For the Lord is a God who knows, and by him deeds are weighed. The bows of the warriors are broken, but those who stumbled are armed with strength. Those who were full hire themselves out for food, but those who were hungry are hungry no more. This wasn't just her story, it was every story of reversal, of hope emerging from despair. Her voice continued. The Lord brings death and makes alive. He brings down to the grave and raises up. The Lord sends poverty and wealth. He humbles and he exalts. He raises the poor from the dust, and lifts the needy from the ash heap. He seats them with princes, and has them inherit a throne of honor. Her prayer was more than gratitude, it was prophecy. A song that would echo across generations. The words of a woman who had tasted both bitterness and blessing, and knew the hand of God in both. For the foundations of the earth are the Lord's. On them he has set the world. He will guard the feet of his faithful servants. But the wicked will be silenced in the place of darkness. It is not by strength that one prevails. Those who oppose the Lord will be broken. The Most High will thunder from heaven. The Lord will judge the ends of the earth. He will give strength to his king, and exalt the horn of his anointed. A woman, once thought barren, now a prophet. Her song rising from the same place her tears had once fallen. Samuel remained in Shiloh. Each year, Hannah and Elkanah returned for the annual sacrifice. And each year, Hannah brought with her a small robe, woven carefully, stitch by stitch, shaped by a mother's hands, sized to fit a growing boy. She would place it in his arms, touch his face, whisper her love, and then leave him again. It was not easy, but it was right. Her son was not far from her prayers, he never had been. And now, he was exactly where God had called him to be. Eli the priest continued to care for Samuel. And year after year, Eli would bless Elkanah and Hannah. May the Lord give you children by this woman to take the place of the one she prayed for and gave to the Lord. And the Lord did. Hannah bore 3 more sons and 2 daughters. Her life, once marked by longing, became full. Her sorrow, once poured out like water, became praise. But it wasn't just about what she received. It was about what she gave. Her son, Samuel, would grow in the presence of the Lord, would learn to listen to God's voice, would speak when no one else dared, would anoint kings, would walk before nations, and would carry with him the heart of a mother who prayed, not for greatness, but simply to be heard. Hannah's story is one of waiting, of wrestling, of weeping, of trust. She didn't bargain with God. She surrendered to him. She brought her need, not with demands, but with hope. And in return, she was not just given a child. She was given peace. Sometimes, the answers don't come quickly. Sometimes, the silence stretches longer than we imagined. But Hannah shows us that silence is not absence. That unanswered prayers are still seen. That every tear carries weight in the hands of God. She wasn't famous. She wasn't rich. She wasn't loud. But she believed. She prayed. She waited. And she gave. And through her gift, Israel was changed. Through her obedience, Samuel rose. And through her story, we remember, God listens. Even when no one else sees. Even when no one else understands. Even when all we can do is whisper in the quiet. He hears. He answers. And he redeems. So now, rest in that. Let her story linger. Let your heart settle. And know, you, too, are heard. Sleep well.